how much is it costing you per hour? What are you worth per hour? You guys know I don't like necessarily working per hour, but at the end of the day, let's be real. We are all going out trading time for money whenever we are working in our business for somebody else, whatever the case may be. We are trading our time for money. So figure out, what is your true hourly rate? Is it $100 an hour? Is it $500 an hour? Is it $10,000 an hour? Whatever you think your time is worth per hour, jot that down too, based on how much time you waste doing this, and it'll be a real eye-opener for you. And I think that alone will get you off your ass. And if it won't, then how far are you willing to go? How far are you willing to sacrifice, that is, for your goals within your business? Because it's something that not a lot of people talk about in terms of how much are you willing to sacrifice. Are you willing to sacrifice going out and partying? Are you willing to sacrifice all the family gatherings? You know, I still try to make the ones that I can, but ask my wife, there's plenty of them that I don't. Are you willing to give up watching the sports, you know, watching the Super Bowl, even watching whatever you are into, watching MLB, watching the NBA playoffs, whatever the case may be? Are you willing to sacrifice? You guys know I'm a huge Chiefs fan, born and raised, you know, went through it all, right? And you know, to finally see them on top, kind of have their own little dynasty going, it's hard for me to step away and do what I need to do, because Sundays are the only day that I really take to kind of have a reset, have a full day with the family for the most part. But we all only have 24 hours in a day. At least 5 to 8 ideally are going to be for sleep. That only gives us about 18 hours, maybe 19 at the absolute most, on most days, to do what we got to do and still fill all those different cups, because you can't just fill the business cup. You got to fill your wife's cup. You got to fill your kid's cup. If you're like me and you got 2 little kids, you got to fill your spirituality cup. You got to fill your fitness cup, because it all interconnects at the end of the day. If one cup is too filled, or one cup is too empty rather, you're never going to have a sense of fulfillment. And this is coming from a true business owner. I've been in business. I have a pest control business specifically. You see our little, this isn't our logo, but this is kind of like my gym apparel, whatever the case may be. Preferred Pest Management. And, you know, I've been in business now for about 4 years. I've been doing business and entrepreneurship, you know, overall since I got out of high school, like 8 years ago now. No, 9 years ago. We're in 2024 already. And this is just some of the things that I've learned, and by no means do I claim to be an expert or anything like this whatsoever. These are just things that I have learned, and I'm continuing to learn, because just because you learn it doesn't mean you're good at applying it. Now that I have kind of learned all this, I'm slowly but surely trying to fill all these different cups up. And oddly enough, those of you that have followed the channel for a while know that I have struggled with like a little bit of anxiety. They call it like panic attack disorder, just random little, you know, anxious stuff, right? And I notice whenever my anxiety and stress and all that is the highest is when my cups are not evenly filled. You should never have a cup overflowing. You should never have a cup completely dry. When you start having that, you have too many imbalances in your life, which don't confuse us with work-life balance. I don't believe in that BS at all. There are certain times where you may have a little bit more liquid than some other cups during what I like to call seasons of life and seasons of business. But you don't want to stay in those seasons too long and cause that liquid to overflow that cup and cause the liquid in that other cup to run dry. Otherwise, you're going to end up having a lot of regrets. And, you know, that's something that we never want to live with. We never want to live with regrets. We never know when we're going to be on our deathbed at the end of the day. And the last thing I think any of us want are regrets. So, you know, going back to my original point, what are you willing to sacrifice? I'm not talking about sacrificing family, your spirituality, your mental health, your physical health, anything like that. I'm talking about non-necessities. So what are the non-necessities for you? Like I said, for me, a lot of it is watching sports. So what do? After, you know, end of the NFL season, I cut my YouTube TV membership. That way I'm not tempted to fall into the trap of watching baseball, which I don't even really care about, or the NBA playoffs. You know, I'll keep up with it on the ESPN apps and things like that, but I limit those distractions to the best of my ability. You know, like I said, I've been a lifelong Chiefs fan, so that's a battle that even I'm still battling. But at the same time, I'm not saying that you guys need to literally go all in and just cut everything fun out of your life either, because, you know, the sense of fun and happiness is also another cup that you have to have filled. So for me, you know, my one little thing of like me fun is being able to watch some Kansas City Chiefs football. It's only a couple months out of the year. It's one game per week. And I've slowly trained myself to not worry about all the other games so much. Follow them on the apps, but don't sit on Sunday from 11 a.m. until 9 o'clock at night and just waste the whole day watching football. So, you know, again, I ask you, what are the things that you need to cut? Do you need to cut Netflix? Do you need to cut some smoking dope time? Do you need to cut some going out with friends and popping bottles? Not to mention all the money you guys are wasting doing that stupid stuff. But only you know at the end of the day what you need to cut to be able to get the life that you want. And at the end of the day, you need to just simply always, you guys know how much I love old school pen and paper. Go and write down what I like to call the time wasters. Write them down one by one, and go ahead and write down how much they're costing you too. Not just in terms of how much they cost you up front in the case of like dope or beer or whatever the case may be, but how much is it costing you per hour? What are you worth per hour? You guys know I don't like necessarily working per hour, but at the end of the day, let's be real, we are all going out trading time for money. Whenever we are working in our business for somebody else, whatever the case may be, we are trading our time for money. So figure out, what is your true hourly rate? Is it $100 an hour? Is it $500 an hour? Is it $10,000 an hour? Whatever you think your time is worth per hour, jot that down too, based on how much time you waste doing this, and it'll be a real eye-opener for you. And I think that alone will get you off your ass, and if it won't, then, you know, go watch somebody else.